I'm no expert. I just call it how I see it. And right now, I'm going to tell you what I think about the current state of the NBA playoffs as of today, Wednesday. Now, tonight, we got the Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors in that pivotal Game 5. This is a must-win for the Warriors. They are at home. And although I'd like for the Lakers to just finish it tonight and have a couple of days rest while the Nuggets and the Suns battle each other to a Game 7, hopefully. I don't see that happening. I think the defending NBA champions have enough in the tank to take it to a Game 6 where the Lakers will bury their metaphorical mutilated carcasses beneath the crypt, just like how we did to the Grizzlies in a Game 6 on a Friday night. And I think that the Knicks, who are also playing against the Heat tonight, they're at home at Madison Square Garden. I believe that the Heat are just a better team, and the Knicks do not have what it takes to claw their way back to make this series competitive. I see the Heat winning this game tonight on the road in the Madison Square Garden. Now, as for the other two teams involved, I think Philly's in a great position. Obviously, they just whooped on Celtics in Boston last night, and they're going back home with all the swagger and confidence of a team that's poised to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and beat as the MVP. Harden has returned to form. So I think that they might surprise Vegas and everybody and all the odds makers and actually be the ones to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not going to try to predict that matchup. As for the Suns Nuggets, like I said, Nuggets look really good. They're the #1 team for a reason. They've been the #1 team in the West all season long, and they're showing us why. I mean, obviously, Jokic wasn't the MVP this year, but played it at an MVP level. And then you got Murray, and when he's on, I guess Michael Porter Jr. So I'm anticipating a rematch of the 2020 Western Conference Finals between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. That should be a good one, but we're not there yet. That's just what I'm looking forward to. Now, a couple things. Flopping in the NBA. Players are complaining about it. Coaches are complaining about it. Fans should be complaining about it. It's been 10 years since the NBA implemented the anti-flopping rule, where if it's an obvious flop, you get actually called for a foul for flopping. And when's the last time you've seen that call enforced? Have you seen a flopping foul called on anybody at all in the last 10 years? How many do you remember seeing? Exactly. Nobody gets called for flopping, and you see it. It's obvious. I want to take two examples from last night's game between the Nuggets and the Suns. Early in the game, I want to say the first quarter, the first half, there was a play where Durant was driving to his left, and Porter Jr. was there, and Durant kind of like fell, like heavily. His body fell in Porter Jr.'s body. And instead of Porter Jr. like throwing himself back and flopping and falling down, he kind of just like took it. Because obviously, KD's a big dude, but he's slight. And Porter Jr., he's solid. He kept his balance. He held his ground. And he, although KD literally fell into his midsection, his stomach, his hips, his legs, he didn't fall down. He like most people do, they prefer to stay on their feet. It's not fun to fall down and have to get back up. If you can stay up on your, 10 toes down, you're going to do it. So he did that. And point is, he didn't flop. He did what most people do in reality when confronted with some sort of physical obstacle. You don't just fall down. You hold your ground. You stand up, right? So later on in the game, I think it was the fourth quarter, the Suns were shooting a technical, I believe, and the other players were over talking to the coach, and Brown was being a pest, and Jokic came over, and there was a little shoving, a little skirmish, and Durant shoved Jokic off, put his forearm in his chest, pushed him back. It wasn't super violent. He didn't elbow him or nothing like that. He was like, man, get off the huddle, man, back up. And Jokic threw himself back and tumbled back. He didn't fall to the floor, but he made a big dramatic show of it, and they did a replay of it, and I'm pretty sure they determined that he was acting. But he wasn't called for a flop. I mean, it didn't happen during the course of any play, so he shouldn't have. But the point is, flopping is rampant. What's up with that? We need to start enforcing this flopping rule. It's ugly. It slows down the game. It's cheap. How are you the biggest, strongest dude on the court and a little dude can push you and you fall down? It's just embarrassing. Okay. Also, traveling. Choose a pivot foot. Pivot foot, that shit's supposed to be nailed. I mean, I can go on and on about my complaints about the lax enforcement of traveling and carrying and double dribble rules, steps in between dribbles, steps after you gather. Like, it's really ugly. And although we know offense sells, it just makes it to where it's just way too easy for people who aren't as skilled as other players to maneuver around the court as though they are. It's like, yeah, but anyways, so I just want to say, this is, to cap it off again, this is what I got. I got the Lakers and Warriors. I got the Warriors winning tonight. Unfortunately, bringing it back to the crypt, but that's going to be good because Friday night, like I said, Lakers will bury them under the crypt. Done. I see Denver ultimately winning the series against Phoenix, but I think it might take a game 7, hopefully. That way we can play a more worn out version of the Nuggets. And for the East, I got Miami winning tonight in New York in the Garden, just ending that series. And of course, I've got Philly winning at home in their next game to win 4-2. So those will be the 2 matchups: Philly versus Miami, LA versus Denver. And I guess we'll know by this weekend. Until next time, I'm no expert. I just call it how I see it. You and